Well, a very good afternoon and welcome back to the Tour de Ski, the penultimate day today. The women on their classic race, which will lead to the Alpe d'Huez climb tomorrow. And Heidi Weng of Norway is making a desperate bid to claw back some time on the tour leader, Ingvild Østberg of Norway. And over the last, 2 minutes, Mike, Heidi Weng has made a little bit of an impression.
Huge punch, a huge move up the steepest climb, 23% climb, and she's managed at last to get rid of Østberg. Østberg, I thought, might manage to survive that climb, but Heidi Weng wants this more than the rest. She wants to pull back some of those precious seconds.
Well, she started today 57 seconds behind, having taken a fall in the last 6 meters of the race 2 days ago. That is going to prove, we all think it's going to prove to be a very, very costly fall indeed. No one was at fault except for Heidi Weng herself. It was almost a case of forgetting to put her foot down for those last few strides.
Incredible lack of concentration, the fatigue factor. As she was, I think it was 15 meters from the line. Still 1 lap to go. Østberg is not going to let this go easily.
A mass start today. Just to let you know, as we joined late due to the downhill, that Østberg, Weng, the 2 leaders in the Tour, they're 1 and 2 at the moment, but the other way round. Jessie Diggins wearing bib number 3 is looking good. Palmer Koski is up there as well. Palmer Koski 2 minutes 9 seconds behind. If she wants to finish on the podium for the 2nd year in succession, she has got to try and break away from Jessie Diggins. And Kerttu Niskanen of Finland is in 5th position, 2:34 behind, so no real threat to the leading 2, but there's still that slight opportunity to get a place on the podium.
Very much, and Heidi Weng must have in her mind the fact that she can pick up 15 seconds for the win. Trouble now for Østberg. She's slipping madly up this icy, wet tracks. Can the rest of the pack catch her?
Yeah, Østberg needs to tuck in behind. Now, Heidi Weng, we think, is likely to be quicker on the Alpe d'Huez tomorrow, Mike. But how much of that 57-second gap does she need to close? And bear in mind that if Weng wins and picks up the bonuses and Østberg doesn't finish in the top 3, that could take it to within 15-20 seconds.
This is a huge factor, because Østberg, when you start dropping back down through the field and the chasing group catch you and then let you go, this is going to be a very tough 2 kilometers. And, you know, this could reduce the lead tomorrow to maybe 15-20 seconds.
This is incredible work from Heidi Weng. Don't forget, she's the defending champion. And when we saw her finish in Oberstdorf, having taken that fall, she was bubbling over with anger. And I think she's carried that anger through 48 hours, and she's letting it all out now.
But you know, that anger, if you focus anger in the right direction, it can create so much determination, and that's exactly what Weng has right now.
Yeah, Østberg really paying the price for trying to stick with Heidi Weng. And you can see Palmer Koski's got away. Jessie Diggins tucked in behind Østberg now. So a fascinating situation, and it's all unfolded due to the work rate that Heidi Weng has put in. 24 minutes on the clock at the moment. They're racing 10 kilometers, so Weng has, 1 more lap to go, another 2K.
Well, less than that now. This is where Heidi Weng picked up those precious points for first through. The women, of course, only having 1 point on the track where they can pick up 10 seconds, 10-8, and reducing to 1 for the top 10.
And I tell you who we haven't mentioned so far is bib number 9.
Well, that's some race from Stadlober.
Yeah, Theresa Stadlober of Austria having a fabulous run at the moment. Østberg is going through all sorts of pain. I was going to suggest, Mike, is she holding back to save something for tomorrow? But I think that's a ridiculous thing to say.
No, she's on maximum. But I tell you what, Patrick, I really think it's her equipment. She's having to run outside of the track. She's got very little grip compared to her teammate, Heidi Weng.
Yeah, Heidi Weng had a few slips at the top of that climb last time round. And in over time, I can't remember a race where the Norwegians have had too much wax on their skis. They always tend to go light.
They do, and they've created that in their technique and their hill bounding training in the summer months to create these short, sharp compressions through the bow of the ski.
Well, look at that. Østberg now down into 5th place. There's virtually nothing left in the arms, and she's going to have 24 hours to recover before she starts what is generally regarded as the toughest ski race of the season.
Well, this is unbelievable because right now Heidi Weng is opening up. I think that's, what, 15 seconds on the track. She's going to get an extra 15 for finishing first, we would expect. That's a shift of 30 seconds.
And if those two start together tomorrow?
Well, Heidi Weng, in fact, it's a whole year tomorrow since Heidi Weng won her last distance race, and that was the climb up, the major climb up she meets tomorrow.
Yeah, and I can tell you that last year, Usberg finished 18th in this particular leg. It's a bit of a bogey leg. She lost 1 minute and 8 seconds to the best last year. Heidi Weng finished 7th, and it was Nielsen of Sweden who skied so well. Now, watch the clock.
This is beyond belief. It was 15 seconds. It's way bigger than that now.
Yeah, we're getting towards 30, 40. The red bib could be switching for the final day. Usberg has got to dig deeper than ever before if she wants to end up as the Tour de Ski champion for 2018. But this is just the sort of battle we like to see. Number 5, that's Kerttu Niskanen. Just behind her is, I think that must be, is that Anna Haag? No, in fact, that is Sadova, who's come through. We've had a couple of withdrawals, and Sadova is there, and I said that Stadlober was wearing number 9. She's actually wearing bib number 8. Now look at those margins, Mike. Usberg versus Weng, 26 seconds the change. So
that's only
how much more is she going to get? Another 5 or 6?
More, because the way that Usberg did not get any grip up that tiny little hill. This is a major climb, and look at Heidi Weng. She's managing to get good grip up this climb.
And here comes Usberg heading down the hill. Weng is going to get a good look at her, and she will not believe the damage she's done to her teammate. Incredible skiing. In second place at the moment, Krista Palmer-Koski, who had a fabulous race in this one last year. She lost 9 seconds to Nielsen, but finished 4th and went rocketing up the order. And Palmer-Koski, remember, finished 2nd in the Tour overall, having been 3rd after this penultimate leg. Weng still digging deep. She knows that every single second counts, and I think she's turned the tables on Usberg.
What about Stadlober? That's without a doubt, she slipped there, but this is the fastest track time. She's come all the way from 8th, and that was a deficit of 2:57 to move up into 3rd place.
Well, that's 3rd today, but it's not 3rd in the Tour overall. We're going to have to wait and see where everyone lies. But look at the margin. Weng is heading down into the stadium. It's been an unbelievable last half of this race. She just cranked it up from the gun, and eventually she broke Usberg. Last 100 metres for Heidi Weng, and she might claw back another half second, maybe even more. Watch the clock, 28 minutes at the moment. They're not going to break the 29-minute mark, but it's for a 10-kilometre race in very difficult conditions. Certainly not the fastest we've ever seen, but with the shortened loop here in Val d'Ifrem, that makes it makes a much tougher loop than the one they used last year.
Yeah, huge amount of climb, 384 metres of climb, and we know that Weng is a real climber.
Palmer-Koski has taken time out of Diggins. She started today 13 seconds adrift of Jessie Diggins, and she's certainly going to claim that. It's going to be tight. It's going to be very tight between those two. So Palmer-Koski and Diggins are going to start fairly close together tomorrow. Weng and Usberg will wait and see. It was 57, the advantage to Usberg at the start of today. She's lost 35 on the tracks. She's lost what she lost on the bonuses. We'll have to wait and confirm that.
I think, my calculations may not be right, but I think there's about 5 seconds separating them tomorrow.
But Usberg picked up some bonus seconds as well.
She picked up the 10, yes. Yeah. Sorry, the 8, as opposed to Heidi's 10.
7, so it would be 42, which would mean a 15-second advantage to Usberg at the start of tomorrow. Wow, this is the sort of finale we want in the Tour de Ski. And the Tour de Ski, to be honest, has been under a bit of pressure because it's not picked up the spectators, it's not picked up the TV rights it was expecting. There's talk of the Tour not going on. So if we can have a cracking finish tomorrow, maybe that will change everything.
Well, certainly there's never been a more exciting final day. We'll have to wait and see the exact timings.
Haag of Sweden across the line, just behind Björnsson. Sadie Björnsson starting the penultimate stage in 7th place, 2:47 the margin. Neshevskaya for Russia, finishing just ahead of Italy's Lisa Procard, and then Shevchenko of Kazakhstan. That's not a bad run for Shevchenko. Anyone with the surname Shevchenko tends to be a classic specialist, so she will have enjoyed the outing today. But what about that from Veng, Mike? 29.07 the time. We're waiting for their overall standings, and once again, apologies for not picking up the start of the race. Such a busy winter sports weekend that there were bound to be 1 or 2 clashes. This hurt. You usually see one athlete on the floor. Now we have, what, 7, 8, desperately trying to get their breath back. Performance of the day has to go to Heidi Veng. Outstanding, though, from Palmakoski and Stadlober. And Usberg will not get a lot of sleep tonight. A 57-second advantage at the start of tomorrow would have been very handy. A 15-second advantage is not a lot to play with when you've got the Alchemies coming up. Smiles all round for the 3 on the podium. We could do with a shot of Usberg to see if she's reacted the same way as Veng reacted at the end of the last leg.
Well, Heidi Veng took it so badly. Usberg went to congratulate her or say what happened, and Veng just walked away, didn't want any conversation whatsoever. And Usberg must be feeling pretty bad, given that I don't think her equipment was as equal with Heidi. She had no grip going up those steep climbs. Technique plays a part, I know, but it certainly didn't look like she was able to get much grip up, especially steep climbs.
That was Fink just across the line, who was lying in 30th position after the end of the last leg, but with the withdrawals that we've had since Oberstdorf, she finds herself knocking on the door of a top 20 finish, which would be very, very handy indeed. Neshevskaya there for Russia. Bjornsson and Diggins, Mike, they've done America proud, and Michaela Schifrin, who's dominant on the Alpine Tour at the moment, delighted that there are a few athletes from another winter sport who are getting some headlines in the USA.
Yes, Jess Diggins, well, she can do anything. She now can do the classic over distance. Yes, she survived well there today in 4th place. No big major deficit, just 23.6.
And Veng with a time of 29.07. We're still waiting for the Tour standings. A reminder that last year Heidi Veng was the quickest on the climbing section of the Alchemies, and Veng with a time of 19.23. She took 26 seconds out of Usberg on the hill last year, and being in the lead, she wasn't really under the pressure that Usberg was under. Viken of Sweden, 23rd, 2:17. That's another 600 meters or so she's given away.
And her 9th victory in her career.
Well, the weather's been kind here in Val di Fiemme, but like Oberstdorf and like so many parts of this section of Europe, well, there you see the standings. From 57, we're down to 1.8, and that's all to do with the bonus seconds that Heidi Veng picked up on the way round. And of course, she got 15 extra seconds crossing the line first. That was the bit I missed out of my calculation.
Well, what a race that is going to be tomorrow. 1.8 seconds, then a full 1:35 back to 3rd place. So we're just going to see, I think, a tactical fight tomorrow. Or will Heidi Veng try and go from the gun and break Usberg early?
Psychological advantage?
I think it has to be Heidi Veng after what she accomplished today. That was phenomenal racing.
But you don't get anything for free, Mike. It might have taken quite a lot out of Heidi Veng to race like that, but Usberg looked finished. She looked very tired on this stage last year, but then recovered pretty well for the Alchemies. Well, there you see the World Cup standings. Usberg still in the yellow bib as the World Cup leader. Veng's moved up into 2nd. Charlotte Kaller, who led before the Tour, is down into 3rd. She's not here, nor is Björgen. And actually, many saying that that has made the Tour much more entertaining.
Well, it's certainly, and that's what I think gave Usberg and Veng the confidence to be winners last year. When Björgen was just making a comeback, it gave them confidence. They then had status, and they've carried that through to this year.
So if Björgen and Kaller had been here, and Nielsen. Who would you have put your money on?
I still think, well, Nielsen, we know, had the sprints gone ahead, but we lost one day, so not in Nielsen's favour. Bjørgen, she's strong, and she's not so much a sprinter anymore, so she could still be here and leading at this moment.
Well, I'm not sure that Østberg Veng wouldn't have taken a top spot. Theresa Stadlober looking a little unsteady coming around the corners. That's because there's a lot of salt on the snow to harden up the tracks, and with skis that don't have any metal edges whatsoever, getting around the corners very difficult. Stadlober has come on leaps and bounds this year. She is a genuine contender for Olympic medals in just over a month's time.
Yeah, definitely. More so in the Classic, but she's improved her freestyle so much as well. And, of course, the mass start today, she was third, 8.6 seconds behind.
Krista Palmer-Koski, as she did last year, leapfrogging up the order. And she is now in a very, very good position to strike for a second podium finish in the Tour de Ski. And if Østberg and Veng blow up, maybe she's going to be the one who takes the title and the 400 World Cup points that come with a Tour win.
Palmer-Koski looking so focused today, so determined for that second place.
But on the form of today, most people would put their money on Heidi Veng, defending her Tour de Ski title. She is only a second behind, and effectively she'll tuck right in behind Østberg at the start of tomorrow. Remember, 4 kilometers on the flat, and then they start climbing straight up an alpine downhill slope all the way to the top, and it's a 5-kilometer climb. They still do it incredibly quickly.
And in that 5 kilometers climb, it's an outrageous 415-meter rise.
Well, great shots of the Tour leaders in the women's Tour de Ski, the men's race coming up later. But before that, we have some biathlon to think about. Oberhof hosting round 4 of the biathlon. It's the men's pursuit coming up. And guess what? Martin Fourcade, having won yesterday's sprint, will be going off first. Well done to Heidi Veng. She's closed down a 57-second gap and will start just 1.8 seconds behind her teammate Østberg in the final stage of the Tour tomorrow.